Hi guys, it's Alicia. Today I am going to be sharing with you 3 easy Weight Watcher desserts that are fall inspired. Now, if you're like me, you love everything fall, and that definitely includes recipes and desserts. So this is just a couple of the things that I have been making lately, and so I thought I would share them with you and maybe give you guys some ideas. Okay, this one is a really simple one. And it's also one that I believe has been around for a very long time in the Weight Watcher community, and it is called caramel apple fluff. So like I said, it's very simple. It's only got 4 ingredients in it. So I've got myself a medium-sized bowl here. And here I've got 4 apples. These are gala, however you want to say it, apples. The recipe calls for medium size. These are more on the small side, but this is what I've got on hand, so that's what I'm going to use. But if you have a choice, I would recommend using Granny Smith because I think those are the best in this. But again, this is what I have, so this is what I'm going to use. So I'm just going to start by cutting these apples up, and I've washed them real well. But I'm going to cut these and core these, and then I'm going to chop them up into little pieces. And once I have that done, I will bring you back. All right, I've got these all chopped up into bite-sized pieces. And now I'm gonna just kind of set these aside for now and move on to the rest of this. So next up, I'm gonna take a container or 8 ounces of this fat-free whipped topping. And I got into this just a little bit, but it's mostly there. And to that, I'm gonna add a package of sugar-free butterscotch pudding mix, or pudding and pie mix. And then I'm gonna mix that all together real well. All right, I've got that mixed together, and now to that, I'm gonna add a 20-ounce can of crushed pineapple. And even though this has 100% juice, I'm draining the juice because, or I did drain the juice, I should say, because the juice does count as points. If you drain it, it's 0 points for this. If you leave the juice, I think it's like 10. So I always just drain it, or drain it mostly. There's a little tiny bit of juice in there. So I'm gonna take that, and then I'm gonna add in my apples. And I'm gonna just fold those 2 in. Okay, I've got that all mixed together, and that is what it looks like. And I wish you could smell it because it smells really good. It does smell just like a caramel apple, really. And it pretty much tastes like one too. So really good stuff. And I will take this and just do 4 really big servings out of it. You can do 8 smaller if you want, but it's a good size bowl, as you can see. And 1/4 of that is a really good size serving. And on all 3 colors, 1/4 of this would be 4 points. Like I said, if you want to do less and make it 8 servings, then it would be 2 points a serving on all 3 colors. But I like a bigger serving. And this stuff is really good. And I did forget to mention that this is best if you let it chill in the fridge for a little bit first. You can eat it now if you want, but I always let mine chill for a couple hours or so. This next one is one I've never tried before. I was looking through recipes and found one for cannolis that looked good. I will link that down below. And I kind of use that as a starting point, but I wanted to do something more fall, so I wanted to make pumpkin cannolis. And then I also just wanted to kind of do a couple different things. And so that's what I did. I used this recipe that I'm gonna link below as a base, and I just added to it. And I don't know if this is gonna turn out. I guess if you're seeing it, then it did. So the first thing I'm gonna do is the filling for these. And that is gonna start out with some ricotta cheese, part skim. So I'm gonna be using a cup of this. And to that, I'm gonna be adding some reduced fat whipped cream cheese. And I'm gonna be putting in a 1/4 cup of that. Next, I'm gonna add 2/3 cup of this 100% pure pumpkin. This is just pumpkin, not the pumpkin pie filling that has seasoning in it. And then I'm gonna add one of these boxes of vanilla instant reduced calorie pudding and pie filling. So any fat-free, sugar-free vanilla pudding or pie filling will work for this. And this is a 1 ounce box. And then last, I'm gonna add a little bit of this pumpkin pie spice. I think I'm gonna start with a 1/2 teaspoon and see what that tastes like. So 1/2 teaspoon. And now I'm gonna just blend this up until it's all mixed together. Yeah, here's what it's looking like. It's a little thick and it needs a little bit more of the pumpkin pie spice too. So I'm gonna add another 1/2 teaspoon of the pumpkin pie spice. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of Greek yogurt to this just to kind of make it a little less thick. So I'm gonna start with a 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt and see how that changes the consistency of this. That helped a little bit. I'm gonna call that good. Now I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put it in a piping bag here. You can use a Ziploc bag and just cut the end off if you want and you don't have piping bags, but I'm just gonna use this since I have one. Okay, now I'm gonna take some of these cookies. They're dark chocolate. And I did try putting them in the microwave and trying to get them to bend up into a cannoli shape. That did not work. So I'm gonna admit defeat on that, and I'm gonna just use them flat like this. And then I'm gonna just put some of this filling on the tops of them. All right, I got 8 of these. Now I'm gonna take some of these little mini chocolate chips and just sprinkle those on the tops of these. All right, and that is what I am left with. It's not exactly what my vision was when I started out. I wanted these to be, like I said, rolled. I was hoping those would roll and make cute little cannolis. They did not, but these still look kind of cute. So I will have my husband try one of them and let you know what he thinks of them. And we don't have our countertop currently because he, what'd you do, reseal it?
Yeah.
Resealed it, so just do it right here. Just go ahead and grab one.
You could put a little dollop of whipped cream.
You could. First off, do you like pumpkin? You're not a huge pumpkin
I'm not
fan.
a huge fan.
Yeah.
But that's really good. And the filling's like a lot thicker than
Yeah.
I had anticipated.
It was a little thicker than I was going for too.
Which is, I prefer.
Oh, okay.
I think that really adds to it. You know, so that pumpkin spice, then you get the sweet chocolate that's not overly sweet. It's really good.
Okay. All right. Now I just got to figure out what the points are on these. I had it figured, and it changed because I ended up with more of the cookies than I thought I was going to end up with. But I will get those points figured out, and I will put them up on the screen. But yeah, I tasted the filling, and to me it almost has kind of a pumpkin cheesecake taste to it, wouldn't you say? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So these didn't, like I said, go quite in the direction that I was heading for or aiming for, but I think they turned out pretty good.
Oh yeah, those are really good.
And I'm not sure what to call these. What would you call these? They're not cannolis because they're not a cannoli shape.
It's
but
almost like a pumpkin pie cookie.
yeah, so it's like chocolate, pumpkin, I don't know.
Cheesecake cookie?
I don't know what to call them. But apparently they're good. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have another one.
He's gonna have another one, so that's how good they are. All right, we'll just call these pumpkin cheesecake cookies. How about that? This one is for a really easy pie, and I have shown this on one of my videos before. I'm not sure which one, I can't remember, but it's really good, and you can change the flavor depending on the flavor of yogurt that you want to use in this. So I think I made a chocolate coconut one in the video that I showed this in, and this time, to make it a little more fall, I'm going to be doing a chocolate salted caramel version of this. But it's very easy. It's only got a few ingredients, and if you buy a pre-made crust, which I never do, it would only be 4 ingredients. But I'm going to make my crust, and so that's what I'm going to start with here. And I'm going to be using some of these cinnamon graham crackers. Now, the last time I made this and showed it, I used reduced fat graham crackers, but when I was looking at the points, or figuring the points in the Weight Watcher app, it didn't make any difference whether you use reduced fat or regular. So since I had these cinnamon ones, I thought that sounded good, so I'm going to use those. So I'm going to start off with 8 of these, which is a sleeve -1. And I'm gonna just take them and I'm gonna put them in this Ziploc bag here. And then I'm going to smash them up with that roller there. Now, if you have a food processor and you want to do it that way, you definitely can. I do have a food processor, but I don't tend to use it that much because, to be honest, I don't like cleaning it. So this way is a lot less mess, and it's pretty easy. So I'm gonna just take these and, like I said, break them up with this rolling pin like that until I have some fine crumbs. And it doesn't take that long at all. As you can see, it's already getting there, but I will be back once I have this finished. All right, I've got those all nice and broken up, and I'm gonna take them and put them in this bowl. And also, you want to be having your oven preheating at this point at 350. So to those, I'm going to add some light margarine. I'm just using this Brumlin Brown. I like this stuff. It's made with real yogurt. And I melted 4 tablespoons of that, so I'm gonna add that to it. And then I'm also gonna add a couple packs of this Trevia, which is just a calorie-free sweetener from stevia. Dump those in. And I would say that's probably a ½ teaspoon. And then I'm gonna just mash this all together. And like I said before, if you want to make this pie even easier, you can just buy a pre-made reduced fat graham cracker crust. For some reason, when you do the reduced fat graham cracker crust, those are lower in points than the regular, but the actual reduced fat graham crackers, like I said, I don't know. The way I'm figuring it, they're not any lower, but you want to get a reduced fat graham cracker crust, you can completely skip this whole step, but I don't mind it. I think it's really easy to do this, and it's definitely a whole lot cheaper. All right, I've got that all nice and mixed together, and I'm gonna take a pie pan, and I'm gonna just pour this in, and then with my clean hands, I'm gonna just press this down into the bottom of the pan. And try to do it as evenly as possible. And I just do mine on the bottom. If you want to bring this up the sides, you can, but I like to make it as easy as possible. And pressing it just down into the bottom is a lot easier for me anyway. All right, I've got that all pressed in there. Now I'm gonna bake this in my preheated oven at 350 for about 8 minutes. And then once that is done, I'm gonna take it out and let it cool before I move on to the pie filling. My crust is nice and cooled now, so I'm gonna work on the filling of this pie, which is very simple. And all that entails is a container of this fat-free whipped topping. Now I'm not gonna put all of it in, I'm gonna put most of it. I'm gonna reserve just a little bit of this though to top each individual piece with. So I'm gonna leave probably about a half cup in there. And then I'm gonna be adding to that some of these Yoplait whips, yogurt mousse, and I've got 2 of them in chocolate. And then I couldn't find the salted caramel in that. And so I went ahead and just picked up one of these Oikos in salted caramel. And that's gonna change this a little bit because the reason you use these whips is the texture of them. They give this pie kind of a chiffon-like texture just because of the texture of this yogurt. And obviously this is gonna be a little different, but I don't think it's gonna make a huge difference. I think it's still gonna be good. And like I said, I wanted that salted caramel flavor in there. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna be putting one of these and 2 of the chocolate. So I'm gonna just dump these in here. And you can see kind of what I'm talking about with the texture of this yogurt. It's definitely really light, and that's what helps to make this pie light and airy and kind of chiffon-like. So that's why you want to use these if you can find them. And they do make a salted caramel in this. I just couldn't find it at my store. So I'm going to dump those in there. And then I'm going to put in the Oikos. Salted caramel. And to that, I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of Hershey's cocoa. And then since this is salted caramel chocolate, I'm gonna add just a pinch of salt to this. You don't have to do this if you don't want, but I wanna kind of bring out that salted caramel flavor, so I'm gonna add just that little bit of salt. And then now I'm going to just mix all of this together. Okay, I've got this all mixed together, and now I'm gonna just simply take it and pour it into my pie dish on top of my crust here. And then I'm gonna smooth this out. Like that. And now I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna refrigerate it for at least 3 hours. You want this to kind of set up a little bit or firm up. So you wanna keep this refrigerated basically right up until the point that you're gonna eat it so that it doesn't get too soft. You can also freeze this if you want to, and I've done that in the past, but I like it actually just refrigerated probably better. So I'll be back once this has firmed up and I will show you what a serving size is of this. All right, this is the next day and I just let this pie sit overnight so it's nice and firmed up. Now a serving size of this is an 1/8. So I'll go ahead and cut roughly an 1/8 of this out of here. So there is a serving size right there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and top this piece with a little bit of that whipped topping that I had left. So about a tablespoon of that. And a piece of this is 9 points on all 3 colors. And that includes the whipped topping, because you can either put all that whipped topping in the pie itself, or as I did, reserve a little bit to put on top. But very easy dessert, very tasty dessert. And this one's actually gonna go to my son who loves it. But just a really good one. And like I said, you can mix up the flavor of this by just mixing up the flavors of the different yogurt that you use in it. But it's got a really nice airy texture from those whips. And yeah, just very, very good stuff. And those are just a couple of the WW fall inspired desserts that I've been making this last couple of weeks. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it maybe gave you guys some ideas. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.